Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises. Which one will you choose? Join us for this episode of Just the Facts. Hi, Larry. Welcome back to Just the Facts on RTE-Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. It's great to be back with you.
Fantastic. So listen, my friend, we get a lot of people wondering about what the skinny is on choosing between Celebrity Cruises and Royal Caribbean. Now, I know they're owned by the same company, so I thought today we would take kind of the mystery out of that. How's that sound?
Great. I get that question a lot. We have people that I've cruised on Royal Caribbean, almost all my life, and I've just always wondered I see them in port. What are they like?
As have I. Probably my number one cruise line is Celebrity, but I've done a number of Royal Caribbean as well. So where do we start, Larry?
Well, first of all, I think we should start with we both like both cruise lines, and and I can't say we're not here to say one's better than the other. They just have different audiences, different styles, and that's what we really want to tell people about is when you're trying to decide on a cruise, what style of these two cruise lines best fits the cruise you're looking to take.
Yeah, no, exactly. And depending on what you're looking for, either style can work for you, depending what type of vacation you're actually looking for. It's really the vibe that both of these lines bring to it, right?
That's very true, Ken. They both have something to offer, and I think the best example I can use is we cruised last year on Celebrity going to the Panama Canal for 11 days with a group of about 30 more senior citizens, and in the same year we went to Alaska with 10 of our family members on the Quantum of the Seas Royal Caribbean ship up in Alaska, and two experiences totally different but equally good.
So let's talk about the target audience for a minute. As a rule, who does Celebrity attract as opposed to Royal Caribbean?
Yeah, I think Celebrity's looking more for the age group of, let's say, 50 up without children. The two children's programs are vastly different. That's one of the big differences right off the bat. They're looking for people who are looking more for destinations, experience, gourmet food experiences, less about having fun. I mean, you want to have fun, but it's less about those types of activities. So that's really where Celebrity's geared toward.
And then, of course, Royal Caribbean, their number one target market is families.
All about families.
And to some extent, probably multi-generation too, because they've put a lot of time and effort into allowing that to happen on their ships with the size of the ships and what they offer to people of all ages, really.
Exactly. Everything is designed for the family experience, and they deliver. They really do.
They probably have the best kids program at sea.
Except for Disney, probably, you're right. And but yes, and it's funny when the Wonder of the Seas came to us in Port Canaveral, I had a lot of folks in my Celebrity people saying, I want to go try this big ship. What's this all about? Yeah. So we took a group on board the Wonder of the Seas, and I was holding my breath for the whole 7 days that, oh gosh, I didn't do the ice skating. I didn't do the surf simulator. There's 17 restaurants, whatever. And at the end of the cruise, they loved it. They had a fabulous time. We had no children with us. It was spring break on top of everything else. So the ship was packed, and they just had a fabulous time because they loved all the different venues and the things that there were to do on the ship.
And that really goes to the size of their ships. Now, Royal Caribbean actually has ships that are roughly the same size as the ships that Celebrity sails, but Royal Caribbean also has these large mega ships. For want of a better word, I like to call them the theme park ships.
Yeah, that's great.
Because as you mentioned, right, like there's just so much to do, and I think that goes part and parcel to the overall experience on Royal Caribbean, because you can still, even on these huge ships that can hold 6,000 people, you can still find lots of places that are quiet and not over the top, if that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking to really get down and party hard and do everything and, climb rock walls and go figure skating and the whole 9 yards, they've got that as well. You don't see that so much on Celebrity.
That's correct. And Celebrities are more things like having a technology center, having technology classes, having art classes, having lecturers on board. The entertainment is more subdued. It's more like a Broadway. Their new ships, the Edge class, have a theater in the round with projections, and whereas on Royal Caribbean you're going to have more shows that are going to keep kids entertained for 25 minutes. Whereas the shows on Celebrity, I think the kids would check out in about the first 3 or 4 minutes with people coming out of the ceiling and lights and all that sort of thing.
No, exactly. Let's talk about my favorite thing: onboard dining options.
You're such a foodie, Ken.
Oh, I know. It's just Larry, I've been on a bloody diet for the last 6 weeks. So the cat's starting to look interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go on Silver Sea a week from today, and I'm worried about that diet. I'm going to manage that. So the dining on Royal Caribbean is going to be, again, more catered towards families. It's going to be larger restaurants. The main dining room is basically 3 decks on most Royal Caribbean ships. That's the other thing. Celebrity now has a kind of a rotational dining experience on their new ships where you go to a different restaurant each night. It's not like Disney where the crew goes with you. And the specialty restaurants are a lot more specialized. For instance, on Royal Caribbean, you have Giovanni's, and that's family style Italian. On Celebrity, you have Tuscan Grill, which is upscale Italian steakhouse. Both have Italian food, but totally different delivery and ambiance in the 2 restaurants. We have a lot more free things like the Park Cafe, where you can get Egg McMuffin type sandwiches and things like that on Royal Caribbean, where Celebrity doesn't have that many more venues that are complimentary.
Well, yeah, once again, that's appealing to families to give more options for that multi-generational group that's on board.
Yeah, they're looking for a quick meal between going on the bumper cars and roller skating and rock climbing. People on Celebrity are there for a more relaxed type of cruise experience.
Yeah, and more of a refined dining experience as well.
Yeah.
Now, Larry, a question about that. You mentioned on the Edge class ships that they have a rotational dining experience between 4 different restaurants. Mm-hmm. Have they brought that out across the fleet? So would you find that on the Millennium class as well, or is it just a regular style in the Millennium class?
No, and it's because it's just on the Edge class, but it's because the restaurants were designed. They added 2 additional restaurants instead of a main dining room. This dining, people are okay with it. I don't know that they're really delighted. I'm kind of surprised that Celebrities kept it.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's kind of hard to explain because when you go to the dining, let's say one of your restaurants, let's say one night is the Tuscan Grill. Well, when you see the menu, 1/3 of it will be dishes that are exclusive to the Tuscan Grill, and then 2/3 will be dishes that are available in all 4 restaurants. So that's really the difference between. Now there you do have the ambience of the different restaurants.
Right. So just to be clear about that, these rotational restaurants, they're not the specialty restaurants that are found on board the Edge ships. These are like your main dining restaurants.
To further confuse things, some of them have the same name as the specialty restaurants do on the other ships. So it is a bit confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah, the whole Edge class is a totally different experience for Celebrity. I mean, it's like we could compare Celebrity cruises between the Solstice class and the Edge class because they're totally different experiences. The cabins, everything are completely different.
Yeah, and really, when you get right down to it with Celebrity, it's going to be the future because they're rolling out new Edge class ships as we go along, and eventually, they'll be retiring the Millennium class.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Now, we talked about the entertainment. Once again, the entertainment is more Broadway-style shows, cultural performances on board Celebrity, and a little bit more high-end, as opposed to the high-energy shows on Royal Caribbean, ice skating, the Aqua Theater, and those kind of things. So, Larry, one thing that's important to people, and especially if you are a regular cruiser, is the loyalty programs. What's the difference between the 2?
First of all, Royal Caribbean now has a new program where you get the same tier amenities regardless of which club you're on. So if you're a Diamond member in Royal Caribbean, you get Captain Elite status over in Celebrity, and then there's a Venetian Club Society in Silver Sea. That's a little confusing in that you cannot earn points for the different clubs. You can only earn points for the ship or the class that you're on. So you can only earn Celebrity points You cannot transfer your Celebrity points over to your Royal Caribbean points to get a different qualification. A few differences on, let's say, Royal Caribbean. If you're Diamond, you get 4 cocktails a day included, and they go on your shipboard card, and you can use them 24 hours a day. Celebrity, you have to go to basically a cocktail party in the afternoon to use those. And of course, with Silver Sea, everything's always included. But you get the same status that you have for each cruise line, regardless of which cruise line you're on. So that's a point of confusion that people often ask us about.
Okay, so if you're elite status on Celebrity and you decide that you're going to go on Royal Caribbean, so you get the perks as if you get the same perks as if you earned Diamond status on Royal Caribbean.
That's correct, but you cannot use Royal Caribbean points to get another status on Celebrity.
So again, if I understand, I'm now on. I was elite on Celebrity. I'm taking this cruise on Royal Caribbean, and I'm going to earn Royal Caribbean points there.
Right.
But I'm not going to be able to transfer them back to Celebrity.
That's correct. Yeah. So suppose let's say you needed 5 points to go from Diamond to Diamond Plus, and you were on Celebrity. You couldn't take your 5 Celebrity points and put them over to your Royal Caribbean account and then qualify for Diamond Plus. So it's not interchangeable as far as earning the points.
Yeah. But
the amenities are interchangeable.
Right. So the perks are interchangeable.
Right.
Where you earn them is not.
That's correct.
What about where they sail, Larry? Do they basically sail to the same places, or would I find different itineraries with Celebrity as opposed to Royal Caribbean?
Yeah, if you'd asked me this 5 years ago, I would say they were vastly different, but Celebrity's putting more and more ships home porting here in Florida longer periods of time. So their itineraries in the Caribbean are very, very similar. You'll find that Celebrity has more overnight ports, especially in Europe. They have more places where they're going to overnight either before or when the cruise starts or where it ends. And Royal's going to be more concentrated in the 7-day sailings, even in Alaska or Europe, where Celebrity is going to have longer cruises, 10 to 12-day cruises. So just as a tendency. But yeah, the itineraries are very similar. So, and Ken, that brings me to another thing, and that's a lot of questions about the price differentials between the two cruise lines.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're seeing some really interesting phenomenon. And the reason I bring this up is to reemphasize how important it is to have a travel advisor that can help you make these comparisons. Because I want to give you a shocking example. We are hosting a cruise in January 25th of 2025. One of the Solstice class ships, the Equinox, is coming here to Port Canaveral, and it's going to do a 7-day itinerary in the Caribbean. The pricing for the Equinox for the 7-day cruise in January is going to be $2,209 for a balcony cabin for 2 people with port charges and taxes. For the Wonder of the Seas mega ship Royal Caribbean for the same time period, leaving on January 26th, the price is going to be $3,500. So wow. And that's a function of, and remember, we always tell everybody pricing is supply and demand, and really nothing else. So there's no mystery to cruise pricing. A lot of people want to make it that way. But what's happening is because of the demand for family cruising out of a dry port like Port Canaveral, the pricing on the Wonder of the Seas is much higher than the Celebrity, because not many people here were going to drive to go on Celebrity and take the kids. So that's the reason we're seeing those differentials.
And I'd have to think with the Oasis class, the theme park ships, they can get that pricing because, just as you say, the demand is there.
That's right. And so I did a kind of a comparison down in Fort Lauderdale later in the year, and in February, the Ascent, which is one of their newest Celebrity's newest Edge class ships, is going to be $4,100 for a February 7-day cruise. Again, this is priced for 2 in a balcony cabin.
Yeah.
The Freedom of the Seas, which is about a 4,000 passenger cruise ship with Royal, is going to be $3,700. So there's only a $400 differential between Celebrity and Freedom. So the reason I say that is when you're looking at cruising, you really need to talk to a travel advisor and compare prices, and don't make assumptions about what the differentials are going to be.
No, and that's really good advice, because with both these ships, we haven't talked about the the staterooms on board, but they have multiple categories of staterooms. It's like a jigsaw puzzle trying to figure out what is the best stateroom for me and where is it on the ship. And if I'm going to be should I take an AquaClass on Celebrity, or should I take this on Royal Caribbean? There's a lot to navigate.
Yeah, there is, and then of course we have luxury offerings on both ships. We have the whole suite class situation on Royal Caribbean, loft cabins, cabins that go up to $30,000-$40,000. Then we have the retreat over on Celebrity, which is a little luxury ship within a ship with a spectacular restaurant called Lumine. And again, these are the kind of differences that you need to discuss with a travel advisor. I mean, we're going to touch on the basics here, but we're just scratching the surface of the difference between the two cruise lines.
And as you say, what really comes down to, if you're going multi-generational with mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, you need to talk to somebody to make sure that you're going to have the experience that you're looking for, whether it's going to be on Celebrity or Royal Caribbean.
And also, a travel advisor is going to help you by creating a group, which makes things a lot easier for dining, to make sure you guys all get in the same. A travel advisor is going to be able to talk to different family members, make the bookings, give them different pricing, because when you're doing multi-generational families, unless grandma and grandpa are paying for everything, which is getting less and less these days as the prices go up, you're going to have a whole bunch of different pocketbooks to contend with. And you need to have a travel advisor that can explain to all your family members the different options they have and the different pricing, because otherwise they might think they're going to be priced out of the cruise. So I think family cruising, it's imperative that you involve a travel advisor.
Yeah, no, really, really great advice, because I can recall the one I did on Disney a few years back, and grandpa was paying for everything.
And it's still complicated.
And it's still complicated because you're pulling in various personalities from, in this thing, it was across the country.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be here, and I don't want to do this.
Right.
And
then last week we had a whole group, I think it was like 8 or 9 cabins, and all of a sudden they all wanted to switch around. One, I don't want to be in this cabin, we're going to move this guy over in. So I mean, that kind of, you could spend hours on the phone, or you could just call a travel advisor in a few minutes. We'll handle all the details.
What about the service levels on the two lines? How do they compare?
The passenger ratios are going to be smaller on Celebrity, so you're going to have more crew members to each passenger. Celebrity, for the price, I think the value of the food, the service, and the entertainment and the ambience of the ship are much higher than what we have on Royal Caribbean. So I think the value is there if you are that type of sailor or that type of cruiser. So I have to give the nod towards Celebrity as far as service is concerned.
And really what that crew ratio means is, because there's less people per crew member, they're going to find that little bit of extra time to spend, that little extra time attending to a particular need you may have,
right,
or to have a personal conversation. So just going to feel that more personal experience. Whereas on Royal Caribbean, they do a fantastic job, but they're going to be twice as busy.
And there's one thing on Celebrity when we come to service, and that's the bartenders. Celebrity has a program where they actually send their bartenders for, I think it's a 2 or 3 week school. And these guys are entertainers. They are a show in themselves. We have on board the Solstice class, we have the ice bar where the bar itself is frozen. And if you don't do the bartenders will show you the correct technique to pound the bar so that the glass comes off. Otherwise, you can't get your martini glass off the ice. But they will take 20 and 30 mixing shakers and create martinis across the board, standing on their heads. I mean, it's really quite a show. If you're into martinis, Celebrity is definitely the cruise line for you.
I have to share my bartender story from a number of years back. This, for want of a better word, this crazy Irishman we met in Michael's club. At that time, Michael's club was kind of a different venue.
Yeah.
And, we're sitting there and he just kept bringing us White Russians. And Deb said to me, I didn't order this. I didn't order this. I'm not paying for it. And he said, I didn't order it either. He just keeps bringing them because he liked us.
They're phenomenal. We did a cruise from Hawaii to Vancouver, and so we had 7 days at sea. And I went down to the ice bar. At the time, there was a particular wine I really liked, and he went all over the ship and stocked his refrigerator with that wine, so that every evening when I came down, he would have the wine that I liked. And so that's the kind of stuff. That's a kind of a Silver Sea level of service.
But that goes to what you and I were just talking about, is that little extra bit of personalized service, which comes down to the crew ratio.
That's right. They have the time to do that.
Well, Larry, this is fantastic. Is there anything else we should tell our folks about?
I guess the other real big difference, Ken, that we should discuss are the spas, because the Celebrity has a whole set of cabins devoted to the spa, and it's called their AquaClass cabin.
Right.
And a lot of people ask me about the AquaClass, and the AquaClass was designed for people who like to go to spas. It has its own restaurant. It has an aromatherapy room that's included in the cost of your cruise, that generally is at the end of the hallway of your cabin. So the spa offerings and the spa menu is much more on Celebrity than you're going to find on Royal Caribbean. Then you have the Blue Restaurant, which is one of the best specialty restaurants of any cruise line, but it offers more, I guess, healthy food.
Fantastic. Well, just to put a cap on it, I think you'd agree with me, if you're looking at either one of these lines, our best advice is to get with an experienced travel advisor that knows both lines. That's going to really help you make a decision.
Yeah, because we'd look at who's traveling, where you're going to go, what time of year, the pricing differential between the two, and which one fits the cruise that you want to take. Because most of us are going to be adapting that cruise to you and your style, because we want to make sure you have a fabulous cruise.
Exactly. So if folks wanted to reach out to you, Larry, or one of your team, how would they do that?
Okay, the best way is that right there where our email address, cruiseholidays@cfl.rr.com. Send us an email, tell us what you're looking for, and we'll get right back to you, we promise.
Fantastic. I'll leave that contact information in the description.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
All right, my friend. So what do you want to do for Just the Facts next week? Or next month, rather?
We were thinking about doing an in-depth look at Silver Sea. What do you think? Would that work?
I think you and I are both fans of Silver Sea, so I'm totally up for that. Sound like a plan? All right.
Sounds good. See you then.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Larry Jackson of Cruise Holidays of Viera. If you'd like to reach Larry, I will leave his contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach us with a question or a suggestion for a future interview, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.